some won't, so what, next. For many of us, those thoughts can be a defense mechanism to protect us from disappointment. When you see someone who has potential, and you haven't sponsored anyone in 3 months, or ever for that matter, it's pretty easy to slip into a pattern where you start to say and do things like, oh, I told her everything I could think of. I spent 9 hours talking to her. I brought her with me on 3 clinics. I talked to her husband. I held a show for her and even gave her my pay. I offered to loan her my kit so she wouldn't have to invest her own money. And even after all that, she's done nothing. I'm here to tell you something you want to imprint on your minds. The more desperate you sound, the less likely you are to be successful in your sponsoring attempts. It's their choice, not yours. Ever talk someone into holding a show she really didn't want to hold? When she wasn't excited, when she didn't see the value, then guess what? At the last minute, she has nothing but excuses. Nobody has any money. Nobody can come. It's just not a good time for me. You know your success rate is vastly diminished because it's not her choice. It's yours. We have to ask. We have to excite. We have to show the value in order for our potential clients to choose to work with us. The very same concept works with sponsoring. Sponsoring is a numbers game. It's a process. Instead of using the abbreviations above, the SW, SW, SWN, I'd like to substitute AI, 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 MO, which stands for ask, invite, ask, invite, ask, invite, move on. When you see someone you want, go after her. Plant seeds. Use taglines and catchphrases like, you have such a pleasant personality, or you might say, you have such a nice smile. Give some genuine compliment and then follow it by saying, I think you'd be great in this business. Could we meet for just 20 minutes when I could tell you a little more about what we do? Or I like this one. During the month of August, I have been authorized by my company to offer 3 professional positions to the right ladies. Could you help me? Who do you know who you think would be a responsible, caring professional? Our earning opportunity is quite substantial, so we're pretty selective. She'd have to be someone like you. Or for someone who's long distance, maybe you could try saying, we are actively looking for 3 managers whom we will train to serve your area. Do you know anyone you could recommend? These are just seeds, taglines, catchphrases. See if you get any nibbles. Already it becomes her choice, not yours. Imprint in your minds, ask, invite, ask, invite, ask, invite. Very few people join a direct selling company not ever having seen or tried their products. That just doesn't make sense. Most of us wore the bras or used the skincare or had our colors done before we went any further. I can't imagine hosting a home show without having made sure I liked the product. If I'm going to recommend a product to my friends, I have to believe in it first. Sponsoring is a process. It's building a relationship. Ask if the lady would like to be fitted, then slide into the next step. Invite her to host a home show where she'll receive discounted merchandise, and more importantly, ask her if she'd be willing to share our wonderful product with her friends. It's her choice. Plant another seed at her show, pay her a sincere compliment, and ask if she'd like to hear more about the business. Invite her to a meeting, or ask her to join you at a clinic to see what we do, or invite her to an opportunity session. There's one more component to the AI. It's the MO, or move on. Knowing when to move on is one of the toughest things to learn. Have you ever had someone who's genuinely excited about the business, sometimes even listens to our program and tells you all the things she's going to do, and spends hours and hours and hours on the phone with you asking all kinds of great questions, and then doesn't show up for training? or tells you she has to wait until she gets her government check because she wants the, quote, big kit. When all is said and done, there will always be people who will do a whole lot more saying than doing. I find it best to shift from the asking and inviting to securing a commitment. That's when she has to make a choice. Use words like, how soon? You might repeat back to her with words like, how soon should we reschedule your training? How soon will that check come in? I call potentials who back off definite maybes. They're not dead yet, but I know it may be time to move on. In my personal experience, as a general rule, unfortunately, more often than not, if she backs away from putting any money down, she rarely, if ever, gets started. Even if she backs away, I always keep the lines of communication open. You never know if she will choose you down the line. Here are some things I've found work for me. Ask her if you should follow up with her in 30 days, or if she'd prefer to call you. If she says she'll call you, move on. When someone doesn't show up for an interview or a meeting, I call and take the responsibility. Trust me, when they know they haven't fulfilled their commitment, they are embarrassed. They won't even answer the phone. So you'll be upbeat and simply leave a message. It might go something like this. Julie, Jackie Tracy calling. I am so sorry. I obviously got my wires crossed. I had blocked time for you today at 2 p.m., and when you didn't come, I knew I must have been confused. I don't want to be a pest, but I do believe you could be successful in this business. If you are still interested, just give me a call and we'll make a new plan together. Otherwise, if I don't hear from you, I will assume this is not a good time and I won't trouble you again. That gives her one forgive, and it becomes her choice to contact you or not. I've used those very words time and time again. They work especially well when I'm responding to an email request for service or information, and then I hear nothing. Telling them I don't want to be a pest and that if I don't hear from them, I won't trouble them again, puts the ball in their court. I found it's been a really successful guide for me to know when it's time to move on. It is, after all, her choice, not yours.
Thank you so much, Jackie. That was absolutely powerful. And as Jackie was talking and as Juanita was talking, I was sitting here, as many of you are, thinking, oh, darn, why didn't I just let her go instead of bugging her all those times and getting myself all frustrated and to the point of thinking, this isn't any fun. We've got to do what Jackie said, what Juanita said. We've got to be persistent, but we've got to know when to move on. Another thing I'd like to stress is always know her goals. Know what she's after. Know what she's in need of. And most people today can use that extra income. When she says to you, you know what, I really don't think that this business is something that I could do, come back to her goal. But Jackie, you told me you needed to earn a couple $100 a month. I can help you. Was that true? Yes, Nancy, I could use the money. Most of the time when a new recruit backs away from us, it's generally fear or the fear of failure, and that's where we come in. But thank you so much, ladies, because it is so true. We do have to know when to let go and when to go ahead and pursue without being pushy. And I have to say, Juanita, even though you didn't have a lot of time to prepare, you did a fantastic job. And Jackie, we so appreciate your words of wisdom tonight. And with that, Phil, I'll turn the call back to you.
Thank you, Nancy. And I was sitting here listening and kind of thinking back also, and especially what the girls had said. But, you know, it's really true. We don't have to beg our position. Do you realize how lucky